Imagine thinking you got away crime. A man named Walter is murdered on a back road in Hawaii. It looks like just another senseless hit and run. No witnesses, no leads, no nothing. Just another crime the world will soon forget. The killers have no idea they got away with nothing because the man they murdered has two sons named James and Johnny. One is a Marine officer, while the other is a detective. They have never spoken in years, can't stand each other. But the moment they find out their father was murdered, everything changes. And when these two brothers begin searching for answers, the people responsible will learn a terrifying truth. Killing their father was the worst decision they could ever make. Let's dive in. The story starts on a beautiful island called Hawaii, where the ocean winds and streets are calm and quiet. However, beneath the calm exterior of the island, something sinister is brewing. A blue van comes racing out of the darkness to hit him. The van hits him with full force, and his body is flung across the pavement. Instead of stopping to help the van drives away into the darkness, leaving the man lying lifelessly on the pavement. It seems like a tragic case of a hit-and-run crime. However, the real story is a lot more sinister. The deceased is named Walter, and his death is about to unleash a maelstrom of violence and hidden truths on the entire island. The disciplined Marine officer. The scene then shifts to a training ground for Marines near an ocean. There is a group of cadets standing near the ocean, ready to undergo a rigorous training on endurance. The instructor is a strict and disciplined officer named James. James is an epitome of discipline and precision, from his posture to his voice. James instructs his students to take a deep breath and dive into the ocean to hold their breath for as long as possible. The students emerge from the water individually, giving up before completing the task. The more students fail, the more James is disappointed. James believes that to have endurance is not only to have physical stamina but also mental toughness. After all his students emerge from the water, James criticizes them on their lack of determination. Then his phone rings. The caller is from the police department. James is then seen standing inside a morgue. A medical examiner slowly pulls back a white sheet, showing of the face of a dead man. It is Walter, James's father. The officer explains that Walter has apparently been killed by a hit-and-run driver. James receives the information calmly, showing no signs of emotional distress. Later that evening, James goes back home and starts preparing dinner with his wife. He almost casually mentions the fact that his father has died. James's wife is surprised by the fact that James talks about the death of his father so calmly. She asks James if he has informed his brother about the death of their father. James just shakes his head, saying that his brother does not answer his calls anyway. It is evident that the relationship between the two brothers has been broken for many years. Johnny's life in chaos. In a distant land away from Hawaii, James's younger brother, Johnny, is also faced with his own share of challenges. Unlike his disciplined brother James, Johnny lives a chaotic and unpredictable lifestyle. In spite of his job as a detective, his reckless lifestyle has gotten him into serious trouble, and he is currently suspended from duty. At his first appearance, his girlfriend Valentina is seen packing her belongings and preparing to leave their apartment. In response to his confusion and desperation to understand what is going on, Johnny asks his girlfriend what is going on. Valentina's anger and frustration are immediately unleashed. She reminds him that it is her birthday, something that his reckless and irresponsible lifestyle has caused him to completely forget. For Valentina, it is a symbol of years of disappointment and neglect. She is fed up with his irresponsible lifestyle and his lack of emotional support. In spite of his apologies, she chooses not to stay and walks out of the door. Johnny is left alone. No sooner has he sat down than his phone rings. On the other end is James's wife, who has called from Hawaii with unexpected news. Their father Walter has died and the funeral is the next day. Johnny immediately refuses to go. I haven't seen James in 10 years. I haven't been to Hawaii in 20. Nothing matters to me there anymore. Johnny barely has any time to understand the situation before something much more threatening occurs. When Johnny stands in the bathroom, two men appear from nowhere behind him. One of the men holds a knife against Johnny's throat and asks him where the package from Walter is located. Johnny has no idea what the men want and tells them that he has not spoken to his father since childhood. Whatever the men want, Walter has not sent it to Johnny. The man holding the knife opens his shirt and reveals that he has the tattoo of the dragon on his chest, meaning that he belongs to the Yakuza. The scene immediately becomes violent. Johnny reacts immediately and transforms the small bathroom into a war zone. Johnny is outnumbered, yet he is extremely dangerous. Within few seconds, Johnny disarms the man holding the knife, crashes the other man into the wall, and parries the knife strikes in a brutal manner. Even if there is another shooter in the room, Johnny is able to defeat him as well. During the struggle, one of the attackers accidentally knocks over a small shrine to Johnny's mother. The destruction of the shrine sparks a fury within Johnny. This is because his mother was murdered years ago, and he has been consumed by pain because of her death. The fury that sparks within Johnny is savage. He defeats his attackers with a level of brutality that is terrifying. The attackers are beaten and broken on the floor. Despite his initial reluctance to go to the funeral, Johnny finally attends the funeral in Hawaii for Walter. The funeral is full of eccentric people. There are powerful businessmen and criminals attending the funeral, as well as people from the Yakuza. It is clear from this matter that Walter's life was not as simple as people had thought. As Johnny finally meets James again after a long time, their relationship is evident as their fight starts immediately. Instead of attending their father's funeral in silence, the two brothers start fighting right in the middle of the funeral ceremony. The fight is so intense that the priest has to intervene and ask them to be quiet. A powerful political figure named Governor Peter, who was a good friend of Walter's, gives a speech about the deceased. However, his words sound quite rehearsed. After the ceremony, all the people gather at James' place to have a meal. The reason it hurts more is because the house belonged to their mother. During the meal, the resentment between the two brothers starts again. James says to Walter that his leaving their mother caused the destruction of their family. Johnny immediately responds by saying that it was James who abandoned him when their mother died. Johnny gets to know something that totally changes the situation. The Yakuza had attacked him the previous night and asked him to give them a package from Walter. This means that Walter's death was not an accident. Someone had planned to kill him. Johnny is determined to find out the truth, regardless of James's involvement. Shortly after, Johnny goes to Walter's apartment and finds a young boy named Pika hacking emails and tapping phone calls. After chasing him away, he finds out that Pika used to work for Walter, hacking emails and tapping phone calls. Johnny decides to use Pika's skills to investigate further. James also starts his investigation. He finds out that a bar had security cameras aimed at the street where Walter was killed. James asks for the footage from the bar, but the people there refuse to give it to him. After showing them that he is committed to obtaining the footage, he finally gets it from them. The footage is clear. The blue van crash was not an accident, but it was a murder. As Johnny searches through Walter's belongings, he finds a blueprint hidden inside a surfboard. The document has a government seal and a code consisting of 8 numbers. Their cousin Nanny checks the document through a government database, finding it to belong to a development project by billionaire Marcus Rubisho. The document outlines the plan to build a massive casino resort on a protected area of land in Hawaii. But the fact remains that gambling is illegal in Hawaii, so it must have political backing to occur. The two brothers quickly find a thumb drive that Walter left behind. After entering a 12-word passphrase that Walter secretly recorded, the brothers find financial records inside a cryptocurrency wallet hidden inside the drive. The records show that $12 million was sent directly to Governor Peter through offshore accounts. The brothers have figured out the conspiracy. Marcus Rubisho was planning to build a casino resort, and he bribed the governor to allow gambling. Walter discovered the plan by accident when he was investigating Marcus, leading to his death. However, before the brothers can do all this, Marcus kidnaps James' wife and cousin Nanny. He demands the thumb drive in exchange for their safe release. Johnny and James have no other choice but to prepare for war. They enter the mansion, which is heavily guarded by Marcus men. What ensues is a fierce battle as Johnny and James shoot their way through the mansion to find Marcus. James fights several Yakuza warriors at once, while Johnny is on the tail of Marcus. The final face-off between Johnny and Marcus results in a massive explosion caused by Johnny's use of Marcus's own grenade. Marcus is killed, the conspiracy is over, and the Governor Peter corruption scandal results in the arrest of Governor Peter. In the aftermath of the conspiracy, the brothers finally begin to understand each other. For a long time, the brothers have been blaming each other for the destruction of their family. However, through their joint effort to avenge their father and uncover the conspiracy, the brothers finally become what they were always meant to be, brothers against the world. And that is how the men who thought they had pulled off the perfect crime ended up making the biggest mistake of their lives. They thought that by killing Walter, they had solved the problem and buried the truth forever. It was just another life taken, so they thought, to protect their secret. But the truth is, Walter had 2 sons, 2 men who would never allow the truth to stay hidden forever. They had unleashed a storm that they could never control, a storm that would ultimately bring them justice. If you enjoyed the story, please do not forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more thrilling movie breakdowns like this one.